Alright, come on, come on. Are we up? Are we up? Hey, we're up. Just a few seconds behind, I guess. Yes, this is the actual debunk. Like, for reals this time.
No anime tough guy trope is complete unless he has outrageous spiky hair, a sword that's clearly compensating for something,
and belts. Lots and lots of belts.
Ragna the Bloodedge.
And so
Fucking
Badguy, the
belts.
flame of corruption. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Okay, make this pretty fucking clear. Oh shit, I just noticed I'm gonna notice there's probably like so much fucking artwork they just fucking take off of deviant art with no permission and shit. But, you know, I don't really give a shit, but I'm gonna just make this clear. I'm only gonna like slightly critique how much the research was just sort of iffy. More say iffy in presentation and just sort of how it's like a very clear, like, they did not make this a fair match by their own logic. Like, I'm not gonna throw in like any of like my subjective scaling into it because, again, my scaling is so subjective. It might as well be like just straight up just too biased in like Soul's favor rather than Ragna's, which, you know, that wouldn't be fair. So like, I'm only gonna throw in small critiques here and there.
Siblings were confined in an experimental facility as lab rats.
Bummer. What were they trying to do?
No one knows. The important thing here is they were rescued by a talking cat named Jubei, who also happened to be the most feared warrior on the planet. However, things took a darker turn when Ragna's sister Saya grew very sick.
With what?
Sickness? No one knows. Ragna took Saya under his wing, but
No
their
one
younger
knows.
brother Jin was irritated that Ragna was not spending more time with him. Being a reasonable guy, he decided the only solution was to murder his brother.
Oh yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I'm lonely. I'll kill one of the only people I care about.
Bruh.
Great plan. So then a maniacal hipster villain named Yuki Terumi showed up out of nowhere, helped Jin impale Ragna through the chest, and then cut off his arm for good measure.
Why? How? No one
Bro,
knows.
what the
Have you
fuck? He was
familiarized yourself
clearly
with that phrase
fucking
yet?
mind
Good,
eggs.
'cause it's not stopping anytime
Fuck.
soon.
Moving on, for sanity's sake, Ragna would have been done for until an omniscient, time-traveling, pig-tailed vampire descended from the heavens, snapped her fingers, magicked him a new arm, and left. No, don't think, just accept.
Surprisingly still conscious, and apparently an expert of things that have never happened before, Ragna instantly recognized his new appendage as an Azure Grimoire, a piece of the Black Beast which Ragna can use to manipulate Seether. Seether is a radioactive energy left behind by the Black Beast all over the world.
Like magic,
Well, no, magic is totally different.
but it lets him do magic-type stuff.
Yes.
Okay, well, after missing out on the maiming and resurrection of Ragna, Jubei the cat ninja returned.
Totally
Why
different.
did they even
But it
virtually unmatched over control? And you know what the surprising thing is? They never bring up like this force field in like any bit of the battle. Well, I'm like, I'm surprised they didn't utilize any of that.
lets him do magic-type stuff.
Yes.
That was his
Okay.
attack
Well,
power.
after missing out on the
Which I'm
maiming
pretty
and
sure they didn't
resurrection
bother
of
making
Ragna,
a
Jubei
multiplier.
the cat ninja returned and decided to teach him the ways of combat.
Where the hell was he before? No one knows.
Probably destroying someone's furniture.
Transform his own arm into razor-sharp claws, or drain the soul of his foe through his strikes.
But if he needs more power, more defense, and more soul-sucking, he can crank these up to 11 with his Blood Cane form.
Upon completing his training, Jubei bestowed upon him a red cloak and a deadly blade called Blood Scythe.
This baby can extend for stabbing strikes, and like the Azure Grimoire, slowly drains the souls of its victims upon contact. And before you point out that it's clearly a sword, not a scythe, it can do this.
Bounty of 90 billion, whatever their currency is.
They're platinum
He
dollars.
walks the world on foot and in public with.
We're talking about a guy who treats getting knocked through solid concrete as an inconvenience, has survived multiple impalings through the chest, took out hundreds of armed officers without breaking a sweat.
Pain tolerance.
And obliterated an entire street with a single one-hand sword strike.
Ragna is referred to by some as the most powerful man in the world, but
So,
he's
like,
also known as a risk-taker
Large
with a
building
short
into
temper.
like city
And
block
despite being
shit.
trained by the most dangerous kitty cat in the world, Ragna is obviously nowhere near Jubei's
like,
level of skill, who terrifies even the
sheesh.
deadliest villains of the series.
But after
Like,
all
if the
was said
date
and
didn't
done,
already-
Jubei left Ragna with a dire
Kind
warning.
of dated.
Never think of the Azure Grimoire as your own.
Which is kind of bullshit. I mean, it's attached to him, so I'm pretty sure he's got dibs.
Well,
Hold on,
Which
hold
is
on.
kind of bullshit.
warning. Never think of the Azure Grimoire as your own.
And don't ever make the mistake of thinking that the power of is years.
Which is kind of bullshit. I mean, it's attached to him, so I'm pretty sure he's got dibs.
Well, he does, but if he loses
Like,
control over it, it can
that's
transform
just
him
some
into
weird
the
English.
Black Beast itself. In fact, Ragna was the original Black Beast, sent back in time after falling into a magic cauldron. The two were somehow separated and did battle in the past. These events would repeat
More
themselves
stolen
in a
fan
100-year
art.
time loop until this chick saved Ragna from falling into that cauldron.
I guess you would say borrowed fan art.
In
Who
the first
knows?
place.
But if the Black Beast never went back in time, then it would never have created Seether, and everything in BlazBlue shouldn't exist as we know it. So how?
No one knows.
You want to just make this guy fight someone
That's
now?
just type A.
I'm the main character. and
That's
yet
just
again,
type
I get
one
left in
fucking
the dark.
incausality
It's really
paradox
starting
shit.
to piss me off.
Way back in the year 2010.
Where the fuck did they even get this from? Let me think. This definitely had to have been somewhere around pre-Exart. I remember this definitely being like
The discovery of
Like,
magic forever changed
like,
the course of human history.
post.
Traditional technology was eliminated for newer
Oh
environments.
yeah, they're definitely
methods.
taking in shit from
And
like
after
Exart,
improving the planet, a certain
or at least during this time period, early 2015, very early 2015. Definitely Exart's sign.
world superpower sought to improve mankind itself.
Oh, hey, another super soldier project. Let me
Which-
guess, they injected this guy with
I
some
guess that's
serum
before,
and
like,
just
Rev
worked
2,
out
so,
the way
like-
they wanted, but now he's a badass.
Replace serum with
Eh.
magic and close enough. This man
So it's not like they could have like touched like the black hole feet or anything like that, or any of that shit. Like,
would emerge as the feared bounty hunter, Soul Badguy.
So he's clearly the bad guy.
Actually, he's the main hero of the story.
Well, then why would they...
Before Soul's transformation, he was known as Frederick, a scientist tasked with leading the Super Soldier Project alongside his love interest, Arya. But whether he intended to or not, Frederick would become the prototype of this new super race, the Gears.
But is he guilty?
Oh, hell yeah. He was responsible for Arya's death, and then her next death when she was resurrected into this thing.
Oh,
I mean, no, Arya pretty much was diagnosed with an uncurable disease instead of like, you know, being with her in her last moments. Soul decided to pretty much further his research into the fucking gear cell project to, you know, develop like a fucking cure for Arya. Or at least develop like a computer for Arya while doing the Gear project. But like, obviously she died. And like, fuck, like, if you pretty much, I know it's like a Guilty Gear Begin thing, and it's probably like, fuck, I'm not even sure if like Daisuke actually made that fucking book Guilty Gear Begins, where you actually know the fucking story of how Soul became a fucking gear, and was like literally it's at least implied that it was like a non-consenting, he was the first gear ever made, a prototype before Justice, and pretty much like straight up just fled, or at least, again, I haven't gotten that far until like fucking Guilty Gear Begins, but you know what I mean. Like, he was the fucking first gear prototype. Hey, Arya's body was used as, the fucking, I guess you would say, alpha fucking gear. Or the commander gear.
Wasn't expecting her to look like that, but not as much as I wasn't expecting the blue robo penis. Who even?
Listen, the villain is that man.
Skipping
Name
that
him
man
that
joke?
man.
Who were?
M-A-N.
So I looked at
It's
the internet.
Oscar
and
on
discovered-
Cruz.
Soul had to maintain a human appearance to disguise
Fuck, they don't
his
know
true
that
gear
shit.
form.
These
So
fuckers
he
only
developed
got
a
into
special
like
limiter
Exile.
headpiece to keep his own power at bay.
If that thing comes off, say goodbye to whoever
Okay, this is
recently pissed him off.
this is the
As a
part.
gear, Soul's aging was slowed to a near halt, allowing him.
While his riot
Oh,
stomp
wait, no,
flies
this is-
in with a fearsome kick.
The dragon install allowed power for so long, and afterward, he's left vulnerable.
As Soul wandered the earth, that man began a plan for world domination using an army of gears. In response, Soul put together a gear-obliterating superweapon called Outrage. So he had to split it apart into 8 pieces, just
Full potential, Soul defeated that man's forces twice over.
and then he decided to upgrade the shit out of it with the Junkyard Dog Mark III casing.
But this is hardly the full extent of Soul's power. He once survived the backyard, an alternate dimension which would annihilate the soul of a normal man. And by removing his headband, he can access his full unrestrained potential.
Oh wait, I ran a missile and hung on to it with just his fist. Hold on. Hold on. If they know about the outran a missile and hung on to it with just his fist part, they're definitely talking about the part where Soul had to like go to like the fucking cradle on this missile, and that's the bit where his fist is going into the fucking and pressing against the fucking whole ass black hole. So like, I guess they probably didn't bother calcing that shit, or just did not do it because it would look way more of a fucking stomp. Because, fuck, they have like nothing good for like Ragna. Again, I know this is early fucking 2015 Death Battle, where, again, no numbers. They have like rare to no numbers.
Like when he shot a laser out of his sword to incinerate an inhuman.
Again, they only bring up like soul destroying stuff because, conceptual shit is just too alien for Death Battle to, dip their toes into. So like, I got like, I guess soul destruction was like the best thing you like slap on for hacks. That's blatant.
Human gear the size of Mount Everest.
And once he went back in time and witnessed his past self get murdered, which should have erased him from the present a la Marty McFly. But he didn't like that idea very much, so he just didn't.
After Blaze Blue, nothing is too bizarre for me anymore.
Soul is powerful, but fears his full potential. He's also pretty lazy. His favorite strategy is always whichever is the least strenuous. This lack of extra effort can sometimes leave him underestimating his opponent.
But the second he starts,
I mean, the only time you really see that is like with really weak characters or characters he knows he can like straight up just mollywop. Unless they like had like off-screen training or some shit or get the jump on him. So it's like yeah, he's definitely on the lazier end, but it's not like a lazy end that's like he's always getting caught the fuck off guard because he's lazy. It's just that, you know, at most of that point, for like most of like Lost Link to like XX, like not too many characters were power creeping towards like the same power of like Soul, except for like Kai. Like either Kai and maybe Slayer. Because the one advantage Soul pretty much has is just popping the fucking dragon install if he wanted to.
trying, few can stand in his way.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
It's time for a death battle!
Yeah, I'm just skipping the ending.
KO! Bullseye!
Ragna put up a tough fight, but Soul had him outclassed.
Likely due to the fact that while
Worth of fighting experience trumped Ragna's training, and he has consistently shaken off wounds more easily.
even Soul is tough enough to withstand Ragna's Azure Grimoire.
But Soul's gear form is leagues above. Recall when Soul turned that gear the size of Mount Everest into
Okay,
dust.
this is the
By
bit.
comparing the size of the gear to the clouds, we can determine its volume to be around 140 billion cubic meters. Destroying something this size would require more than 85 gigatons of TNT.
Okay, they got the volume. Let me look at this. Let me look at this. All right. 2004, 46 joules per cubic meter. Where the fuck did they even get that fucking metric to put into the volume? Let me put this in. Let me put this in. Where the absolute fuck these guys even get a metric like that? Ooh, no, that's
meters. Destroying something this size would require more than 80.
okay. They got the volume metric, but again, they didn't put into account for like mass. I don't know where the heck they got that. Because in the actual fucking manga where they actually took that from, this thing's weight is around 4 tons. Yeah, its combined weight is 4 tons. So this thing in the sky is pretty much like a literal geared zeppelin. And you actually calculate the straight up just mass of this bad boy. Yo. type of fucking metric did they even use for like fucking mass? Grams, meters, grams, meters, pounds per cubic foot. Ugh, I'm gonna have to find like a density. It would be a density formula. S. Calculator soup, help me out. Look. Alright, let's say 4 tons. It's 2 kg. Alright, we got like this many kilograms. Now,
140 billion.
okay, meters. Fuck these guys. Definitely on the bigger density calculator than calculator soup.
Cubic meters. Destroying something this size would require more than 85 gigatons of TNT. That's nearly 200 times more powerful than the 9.0 earthquake that hit Japan in 2011.
More than enough to take Ragna down, and that was only a fraction of Soul's real power. Ragna just burned out in the end.
The winner is Soul Badguy.
Next time.
Would require more than 85 gigatons of TNT. We can determine its volume to be around 140 billion. Cubic meters. Destroying something this size would require more than 85 gigatons of TNT. That's nearly 200. We can determine its volume to be around 140 billion.
Uh, 3,000. I got 3,000 meter gear. Oof. Sheesh. Yeah, the gravitational binding energy on that fucker is damn small. But that's mostly because of its fucking negative mass. Like, this thing has literal negative mass. Essentially making it, in terms of like gravitational binding energy, literally up in the fucking microjoules. That's like -7 joules. Like, bruh. Like, somehow went below average human. I don't know how the fuck this thing literally wins a below average human for like gravitational binding energy on this fucker. But it's literally weaker than a fucking balloon. Ooh, and to fucking pop the shit out of it. I'm like, hey, you can at least say I'm not biased and at least look at the faults. Also, where the shit could easily pop in the opposite end. just how the hell? just that negative mess. Just fuck it over. like the ones of this damn thing's in the sky. I had a straight up just negative mass. Well, negative density. It has like negative density. It's like the one time I'm not happy to see negative numbers. It's fucking hilarious. Like, the shit got like no gravity on it. It's weighing around 4 tons. I'm like that's like, that is some funny shit. Like, that is damn funny. Damn funny shit. We're just popping the fucking Gear Zeppelin. I don't know how fucking Gear Zeppelin like that just like, it's below average human into tier 11, like, in gravitational binding energy. Like, somehow fucking Guilty Gear somehow accomplish getting a feat that like no other fucking verse could probably ever get, like unless you're like fucking Cytoplankton. But even then, like even Cytoplankton couldn't accomplish something like this. Of just being this fucking massive, yet having literal negative, just literal up in the negatives, just negative fucking density. But yeah, that's like it. Like they pretty much didn't give like Soul like anything like big or over extrapolated. Like they didn't go into like the Master Ghosts. They didn't go into anything like that because no, it's not something you normally use like in character. You're like outside of like Overture. Even though in like normal standard battle assumptions, like I don't know why he wouldn't. Like if he's like I know why Daisuke just kind of doesn't use, the Master Ghost because, that was like when Guilty Gear was sort of going through its phase of being I guess you would say a fucking Dynasty Warriors game, which is why, Master Ghosts don't get brought up. It's also pretty risky, like, just pop a fucking Master Ghost out. Since it's pretty much representing of your soul. And it embodies your soul in that shit. So it getting destroyed in combat is pretty bad. Plus, the setup is like Soul rarely ever gets into like a fucking match where he has to like straight up like over fucking prep, or I guess Daisuke just kind of made it one of those types of abilities. You know what it means when you have like those types of abilities that you only get to see once in the series, but never really use consistent. Like, or it's either only rarely used very sparingly. Like, say, like Goku's power pole. Like, even though that's a weapon he doesn't really use that much anymore, that's still a weapon that, again, gives him a way longer reach advantage in terms of range because it can extend, but it's such a underused item that he rarely uses in combat anymore because I guess, offers, Toriyama just kind of wanted to focus on, hand to hand rather than say like Goku focusing on like hand to hand and switching to his power pole. I guess it would be, easier to do that. It's sort of like the same case for like, I guess you'd call like the Master Ghosts. Like, oh, it can't fit in like story narrative wise and that shit. But yeah, I'm pretty much gonna call it nights and in the stream.